Okay, I appreciate everybody's encouragement to stay on YouTube. I'm going to try, at least for a few more videos, and we'll see what happens. It's their platform. I guess they can block you if they want to, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. It's their world, their platform. But anyhow, what I want to discuss today is the code. The history they give us for the English language says that it developed from other languages and is sort of a bastard conglomerated language, but I don't really trust the history of what they tell us. The English language is so perfect in the code. It lends itself so well to what they're showing us around here, and I'm just not. I don't totally buy the fact that English came out of nowhere, out of other languages. I think it's always been there in some form. They try to tell us that there was an old archaic English and the new modern English, and how it sort of morphs into other words and different things. But anyhow, I want to break down the code in English, and I know there are other languages in the code. Sometimes you look at the code and it fits other languages like Latin or Hebrew and different things, but I'm going to be mainly concerned with the English language. And here, the alphabet, you can break it all down into numbers. Each letter has a corresponding number. And what I want to do in this video is break it down to just a single digit, the 1 through 9, like a base 9 code that they use. Now, they do use other things like Roman numerals. They do use other languages, and they do put other things in the code. But I'm going to try to keep this video simple and just discuss 1 through 9 of the code. And you can put this to the test by seeing it in movies and music and different advertisements and different ways they show you the code. You have people out there on YouTube that show you the code. They'll say this is 33, this breaks down to a 9, this breaks down to a 6, like the Mag. He's always showing you. What I like about the Mag's videos is he shows you the numbers, but he doesn't tell you what they mean. And that's what I'm going to attempt to do right now, is to show you what they mean, what each number actually means in the code. And like I said, you can test this by putting these numbers up against what you're seeing, what they're showing you. And my experience, at least from my viewpoint, in my opinion, it all fits like a puzzle. Everything should start clicking together once you break the code. So let me show you the code. Okay, here's a basic chart showing you the numbers 1 through 9. And I'm not going to concern myself too much with the colors. Maybe somebody in the comment section can elaborate more on what the colors actually mean. They're there. Each color seems to have a corresponding number to it. But I'm going to concern myself more with the actual numbers and the alphanumeric letters that correspond to the numbers. The colors do have meaning too, but I'm going to try to explain this chart again, 1 through 9, and break down the code. Okay, let's start with the number 1, uno. U, north, out. 1. So the key to this whole thing is, right now we're in a divided state, and we need to get back to a state of 1, reunited, whole. Some of the songs I thought of when doing this was Reunited, and it feels so good. Reunited 'cause we understood. United we stand, divided we fall, we fell. And to remember, to put your members back, your two members back together, remember, to become one again. That's the goal. That's the whole goal of this game. That's the whole thing. The whole reason you'd want to exit is to reunite with your higher self. 1. That's what the number 1 is. And you see the letter A. We've already discussed that in the symbol video. Points up. It's like a ladder. You step in the middle, you point up, goes to two towers, go right to one. The S is through the sun. That's how you get home. The J is a letter that's been monkeyed with a lot. Like I mentioned, other languages use, Hebrew didn't have a J, but they use the letter Y, which is you or I. But you see the letters there sort of correspond to the number 1. And let me show you on the back of a dollar bill for a second. I'm not going to decode the whole thing, but I'm just going to show you a few things. Okay, I'm not sure if I can get my mouse pointer working and recording. Yeah, I can't figure out how to do it with this software. I've read so many things about it, but anyhow, I don't want to disrupt the video from it. But anyhow, on the right circle here, that's encoding the moon. You see the beast with the eagle, and you see all the stars. You see the sort of a reincarnation, sort of figure 8s all the way around that circle there, and then you see the arrows that he's got is, encoding the different lives people have. And yeah, I don't want to get into decoding this too much. And then on the left, you see the circle represents the sun, and the pyramid is just a 3-dimensional pointer. Points up, you see the sun rays coming out, go through the sun. You see the eye is you, go right into the sun, pointing up. And there's a lot of other things encoded here, but I'm not going to get into them. But you see above the circles, you see the water. Below, you see water. You see the center here, right in between the two circles, the sun and the moon. On the bottom, you see what looks like corn, maize. This is the stage. This is the center stage. This is where everything we're seeing on the screen is being projected onto the stage. And you see, it says 1. This is the goal, 1. Anagrams are Eon and Neo. So this is what I wanted to show here. So this is the goal, to get to that center pillar, is to get to a state of 1 again. Rejoin yourself, remember, and to become 1 again with yourself. And it's all depicted on the back of this dollar bill. This is the most common form of currency out there. It's just about everybody in every country's got this. Has had one, seen one, has one in their pocket, used one. It's very common. They haven't never changed this for so many years. But this is just a basic little decoding of this. You got the sun and moon, the stage in the middle, and the goal is 1. Huge letters, O-N-E, 1. Okay, let's look at the number 2. The 2 is you divided, parted, split. The female side is put to sleep, and the male side is sent, or rather thrown down into the game. Riders on the storm, into this house we're born, into this world we're thrown. It's called the human race. Mankind. It's reigning men. So the point of the number 2 is it's you divided and split into 2. The letter B is the second letter of the alphabet, is represented by the number 2. The B also sort of looks to me like a 13, like the 1 and the 3 kind of stuck together. But a B is a number 2. A K is an 11, which also breaks down to a 2. 11 is the code for the game, the sun and the moon, 9/11. I'm going to get into that further as we go along. And the T is sort of a cross. X marks the spot, the way home, the way back together. But BKT, all those letters break down to a number 2. So that's the number 2 in the code is you divided. Okay, the number 3. Let's look at this is another the configuration of the alphabet broken down into colors and numbers. But look at that third column there. And the number 3 is very interesting. CLU, and then the 3 is sort of a mirror image of an E, which all just pretty much spells out the word clue. So all your clues that they want you to see, they use the number 3 a lot. They'll say 33. CLU, and look at the color for number 3 is a yellow, which is often depicts the sun. So CLU 3. Let me show you another slide. So a 3 being a C, the third letter of the alphabet, it's pronounced C. CC equals CC. With both your eyes, open both your eyes. The number 3 they use for clues. It pretty much spells out the word clue. And they use the color yellow. This is one color that I do know what they're doing. I can see what they're doing, and that's the sun. Usually represents the sun. They'll represent the sun in yellow, and the U is you. So you need to see the clues about the sun, about the game, the way home being the sun. So that's number 3. Four is the death code. See, the color green is used for the earth here. That's where we're down to the main color on the earth is green, usually referring to the earth. But 4 is D, the letter D, death. The M, the DMV, it's not Department of Motor Vehicles. It's death. The M is for the maze that we're running. And V is victory, I guess for them. If they win, if they keep us in the maze, it's victory for them. That's what usually with this little peace sign thing they flash up. I'm going to do a video on what the hand signs all mean too. There's not a whole lot of them to go through, but they're all significant in what they're showing you. The number 44 they'll use, that equals an 8. I'm going to get into the number 8 pretty soon here. In this case, it would be reincarnation, endless loop, recycling your mind back in here until you figure out how to get out of the game. But the number 4 is the code for death. It's interesting, too, that the year 2020 breaks down to a number 4. I won't get into that, but the number 4 is the code for death. Okay, the number 5. Number 5 is the code for the sun. You see, when you draw a 5, it's almost identical to the way you draw an S, except for that one angle at the top. It's got this sharp angle, but other than that, it's almost identical to an S for sun. Now the E is a mirror image of the number 3. N would be north. You got to go north to the sun. Northeast, you go east and then north up through the sun. And the W, the way you pronounce it is double U. It's 2 U's. So the way to get back home, the way to become one again, is through the sun. So whenever they use the number 5, it's through the sun. The color blue, you hear the words true blue. True blue is you get back home. Your true blue love is there, waiting for you just to get back. Been waiting for you for who knows how long. But true blue. So number 5 is the sun. It's code for the sun. Number 6. If you buy a vowel from Vanna White, you can change the I to an E. 6, sex. Very similar in name there. 6 is an upside down 9. And there's no such thing as Satan or a devil or demons or anything. That's all a fear construct. It's meant to keep you into the game, keep you in the maze. through fear of such things. There is no such thing. It can't hurt you. There's nothing. There's no controlling Satan that's ruling this world like they tell you. But I hate to use the Bible for anything, but it's one of the only places that this is actually explained. The 666 is the number of man, the primate ape-like beast, these things we run around in. And the 666 is just 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. And if you look at a 6, it's sort of a spiral. It's sort of a... you start from the top and you come down and you circle around. So, and if you look at the FOX, the Fox, all those letters break down to a 6. So I'm going to get it more into the number 9. These two numbers sort of relate to one another. One is upside down from the other. And there's your number 6. Okay, 7 I explained in a previous video as being the number for the game, the G. The G in the center, the G that you see everywhere represented. A lot of companies use the letter G. As I mentioned there, it's drawn as a set. You start off with a 7. You start drawing a 7 and you loop it around. And the loop would be the sun with that little line pointing in the center of the circle. So the answer's sort of given you there in the letter. But the letter, number 7, the G, represents the game. And the other two corresponding letters in the alphabet that break down to a 7 are a P and a Y. We're all players, or you're a player in the game. And the Y is you. So, but number 7 is representing the game. 7 always comes up game. The game. Number 7. Okay, number 8 is very interesting. Now, 8 can represent both the towers. So in this case, I'm going to start off with showing you the moon. And again, I'm eventually going to get around to making a video about the moon. It's probably going to be in a few parts because there's so much to say. But anyhow, let me get to this point. 8 represents the moon in reincarnation. See the endless loop here? See the Grim Reaper there? Usually a job done by Pluto. Pluto, interesting, is being kicked out of the game right now. But if you go into the false moonlight, however he tricks you into getting there, or she does, you're looped around. And you see the woman there? That's Mary. That's Venus. That's Sexy Sadie, Rhiannon, Lady in Red, although she's wearing a purple dress there. But it's she's the one that you come back and are thrown back into the game. And you have to redo the whole life over again. See, the 8 is showing here reincarnation. So even though it's down on its side there, it doesn't matter which way you flip things. Sometimes they do that. But anyhow, the child is born, grows up, has to run the maze again, becomes an old man over on the left side, and gets brought back in. And this goes on forever until you figure out how to get out of the game. The only way you're going to win this game is by getting out of the game. So let me talk about the other meaning of the number 8. Okay, you see the 8 in its upright position sort of looks like an hourglass too. Like, you remember the Wizard of Oz, the Wicked Witch of the West, the Green Witch time. She threw an hourglass and told Dorothy that she had to have the shoes by the time the sands run out. She wanted Dorothy's shoes because the bottom of your feet are called soles, and Dorothy was doing her soul run, the yellow brick road into the sun, and she used the hourglass, meaning you only got so much time to figure this out. And that's represented with the 8 too, the hourglass. But an 8 can be used for either. You see the number 88 is in a lot of movies, like Back to the Future used it extensively, 88 miles per hour. Got the DeLorean up to 88 miles per hour. And so I just discussed the moon. The 8, you put it on its side and you can see that it's an endless loop reincarnation. But an 8 is also an H. And for the longest time, I couldn't figure out how the other 8 represented the sun. And then I think it was an episode of The Walking Dead where somebody carved an H. And I'm sitting there watching it, and somebody asked the girl that carved the little medallion thing she made out of wood, she said, "What does the H stand for?" And she says, "Home." Well, bingo, that clicked right in my mind. That's what it is. The H is home, and home is through the sun. That's how you get home. So the 3 letters that break down to an 8 in the alphabet are H, Q, and a Z. Now, the Q is an interesting letter. It's sort of an O, representing the sun with a line pointing in. So that's representing the sun right there, pointing in. And the Z is sort of a sideways N. You see how you can turn that 90 degrees and you'll see an N. But it's also a mirror image of an S. Again, S being sun the way home. So, I don't know what about this color rose, but the name rose. I mean, if you rise up and get out of here, then you've rose and you can get home that way. So an 8 can be used either way. It's the 2 pillars of the game, the sun or the moon. It depends on how they're using it, what they're trying to show you. But 8 is both in the code. Number 9. Number 9. You remember that Beatles song? What a ridiculous song. But anyhow, they used the number 9. Number 9 is very simply the code for the dream. I think of songs like Number 9 Dream, John Lennon. He kind of spells it right out there, tells you exactly what it is. Love Potion Number 9. I just got the authors there. I forget the band that did it. I looked up who wrote it. Again, that Number 9 song by the Beatles, Cloud 9, George Harrison. It's all dealing with the dream. And again, it's a spiral. See, it's an upside down 6 again. It's a spiral. And we come down into the maze in a dream. This is all basically a dream, an illusion. Your divided self is in a dream. Your mind is occupying this place we're in. You're playing this game inside of a dream. It's not really real, although it seems real. I think he says that in that song, Number 9 Dream. Seems so real to me. Could it be a dream? Was it a dream? And when it's over, you'll see that none of it was real. Once you get out of here, this was all just a game. It was a very intense game. I don't know if I would call it a good game, but a very difficult, intense game. Number 9 is a game. Is a dream, I mean. A dream. Number 9 is code for dream. Let me stop there. And you see the 2 letters representing the 9 are an I and an R. And I think of the R like the spin of the dream. It's our minds that are spinning. It's revolver, R, revolution, I, obviously I, us, IR, us, I revolving, 9, spinning, dream. Okay, so there you have it. That's basically the code as I see it, as I've broken it down from the clues that I've received. Now, I don't claim to have all the answers, and I'm going to let me just say it's my opinion, okay, so that I don't get into arguments with people as to what means what. But this is the code the way I see it from the clues. I've been studying this for years and digging in, and I may see some more things to add to this, and you may see some things. You can leave them in the comments in this code, but basically 1 through 9, a base 9 code, that's how it all breaks down. And somebody could explain a little bit more about the colors if they want. I'm not too sure what every color represents. I know each color does have a corresponding frequency, and everything is light divided up. It's all divided up into light. But the game, in order to understand it, if you know the code, now when you see people giving the code numbers, it would be helpful, in my opinion, was why I made this video, if you understood what the code means. Instead of just throwing the numbers around. This is 666. Ah, you see it? You see the 33? You see the 44? You see the 88? Well, you can throw that all around all you want, but if you understand what they mean, it's going to have a whole lot more value to you when you see something, when you see the code and them using it. So let me show you a slide. I'm just going to break down some common things that people see and just kind of a recap of what I've been saying on some of the code here. Probably the biggest number they use, and we see this over and over and over constantly, so many ways and so many times, is 911. That's your emergency number. And I was going to get into showing police cars and all. I usually break down numbers on police cars and stuff to a single digit. And you can see it's usually either a 3 or 7 or 9 or an 11. It's always 911 is right on their police car. It's the number for the emergency. Meaning be alert, wake up, be alert the police, alert the authorities that there's a problem. But 911, 9 is the dream. No doubt in my mind about that. That's definite, 100%. I mean, all these numbers are 100% in my mind. The 11 is the two towers, and that was a big deal in 2001 there when they knocked them down. And it was a wake-up call to show the entire world these numbers. Massive, massive. I know they did a lot of bad things with it, with the Patriot Act, and they're doing a lot of bad things right now with the pandemic. But it should wake you up enough to get you starting to question things. It's the two towers and pillars of the game, the sun and the moon, 9/11. So the dream and the game, it's all encoded right there in the 9/11. 88, I just explained, is also representing the two towers, pillars of the game. The 1-8 is the moon, reincarnation, recycle. The other 8 is home, through the sun. 33, CC with both your eyes. Understand. Open your real eyes. Realize. That's why they use the 33. They're if you don't see what they're showing you, then it's not their fault. That's how they're going to view it. They're going to say, well, why do I have to live another life? Why do I have to be reincarnated? Why do I have to be mind wiped and start over? Because you didn't see. We showed you. You just didn't see it. So that's what the 33 is. CC. If you don't see it and you don't get out of the game, then you're going to just be in the game. And it's not a bad thing, really, because you're never really going to die. You just keep playing the game, and they get to use your energy, keeping you in the game. 666 is, again, the number of the man, the primate, ape-like beast we run around in. 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. That's all it means. It's got nothing to do with a beast or Satan or in the beast of Satan, in the sense that he's ruling the world and it's evil and all this stuff. I mean, that's all just it's to play with your mind. It's to keep you in the game by fear. Don't fall for it. There's nothing to worry about. Nobody can stop you from leaving. And even if they try, then just blow fire at them, just knock them out of the way. Whatever gets in your way on your way out of here, just keep going. If you know where you're going, my best guess is they're going to leave you alone. They're not going to try to stop you. But even if they do, just keep going. If you got to be convinced of the way out of here, you have to know your way home. It's just and another number you'll see is 777, which adds up to 21, which breaks down to a 3. So usually there's something they want to show you when they use those numbers too. So, and they give you all the clues. It's up to you to figure out what they mean, what they're showing you. It's up to you to gather them together, to piece them together, to put it together. You're not going to be able to say, well, nobody told me, nobody showed me, well, I didn't know, well, I didn't realize, when all this stuff is right in front of you, and you just have to see it with your own eyes, with your real eyes. Realize. So the English alphabet should give you enough to go by to figure this out, but they tell us how language evolved and everything, and most of the languages they say, and sort of make sense, that they develop from little pictograms. You look at the Chinese language and stuff; it's all little Japanese. It's all little pictures of things, and you kind of got to know what they mean. But Here's a little chart, and this is just like an addendum to what I'm already pretty much done with the video and the decode. But you just look at some. I mean, look at down the bottom, the T. See how it's like a cross, an X, and then you got the capital T's, and then the modern Hebrew. You got all the little pictures of things. Let me show you another one. Yeah, this one here might not be much better. It's hard to read. It's probably tiny if you're looking at this on a cell phone. It's probably not very visible. But anyhow, you look at the early pictograms of things, and look at the in the Hebrew letter. The second letter is bet. You can see the word alpha is first, alphabet. But you see the early. See, it's like a G, like a bet, like a game, like a bet in a game. I know people would argue with me that study Hebrew, but this is what I'm seeing. You know, it's the G side. It's turned a little bit different, but it's a bet. And the B, you can see where they got the B is sort of an upside down thing. Look at the A in the middle, top corner. I can't use my pointer. I've this software is called OBS version 21.01 64-bit. It's a very expensive software that I bought, and I don't see why they would make software where you can't use the mouse, but apparently they did. There is a way to do it, but I put all the settings the way they said, and the mouse still does not show on the screen. It would be a whole lot easier for me to point these things out for you. But look at the letter A at the top, alpha. Look at the middle, up top left corner. It's sort of a what do they call it? Like a goat's head with the two horns. But if you flip it over, it's an A, which again makes a ladder. And if you look at the modern Hebrew, it sort of looks like an N, like up. It's always pointing up, north, up. And again, the B, you see the word bet. You see that G. And there's other ones in here. You could take a look at this or pull up one yourself and see the actual chart, and you can see different little pictograms. There's one that looks like an I, 3/4 of the way down. I think it's called the ayin. It's for the letter O. Again, U on the other side of the sun. Your I. This is like the back of the dollar bill pictures. I mean, stuff is all connected. If you simplify, you don't have to complicate this with all kinds of fancy, Look down the bottom. The Tav, T-A-V, Tav. I don't know how you call that. It's a cross. It's an X. And they call it a Taw, T-A-W. So, it all sort of ties in, but I stuck with English on this, mate. Roman numerals show things too. I mean, the XXII and the two I's on the end and the X's in the middle. I mean, I could go on and on with the code, but I mean, the English should give you enough to figure this out as you're watching, as they're showing you things. But you might be able to find a lot of other things in here that I'm not seeing that I could see if I studied it. But I don't read Hebrew, and I don't read, Phoenician, Greek, Latin. I'd like to learn Latin. It would be on my bucket list of things to do. If I have time, I may spend some of my retirement learning Latin because I think it'll show you a lot more of the code. Things they hide, things that they pulled out of Latin into English. And Latin is very similar to Spanish, so if you know Spanish, Latin's probably easy to figure out from there. Working your way backwards, but it's very interesting. I just thought I'd throw in these couple of slides to show you that everything's coded, and once you crack their code, it's easy to see. Once you know with a way home how to get out of here, what's going on, that we're playing a game. Once you know how to break the code, it all should start falling together for you. Putting all the pieces together. It should be eventually pretty clear. So that's my video on the Code X. I'm going to call this video Code X. And that wraps it up.